into the penalty area to Aronson. Aronson shoots! He scores! Bogle steps in for Leeds. Bogle in. Aronson! Oh, he's put it wide!
Oh, a masterclass on how to go from hero to zero from Brendan Aronson there. My God, what a shocker. He's decided to try and place the ball to the left. Why? I don't know. Rush of blood? Such a shame. That aside, it's like watching a movie on repeat, isn't it, guys? 20 minutes of good football. 10 to 15 minutes in the first half. 10 to 15 minutes in the start of the second half. And then we fall back in line, don't we? That's Farke Ball, it seems. Reliant on tempo, which we can't seem to keep up. Try and win the game in the first 10 minutes of each half. And why is it we don't just kill teams off? We score a goal, it seems the impetus immediately shifts to the opponent. We're not going to win this league without being able to put 90 minutes of performance in. And if we're all honest with ourselves, throughout last season, we very rarely put a solid 90-minute performance in. There were outliers, Norwich City, Leicester, Ipswich, key games, where we did put 90-minute performances in. But when you have to get through the slugfest games like the Portsmouth, QPRs, Birmingham's, Stokes, whoever else, you've got to put a 90-minute performance in. You've got to do the basics and just get over the roadblock. Kill a team off early. Give them no hope. And we don't seem to be able to do that. Leeds will always give you a chance. And that's a major problem. Anyway, just needed to get that out my system. Let's review the game from scratch. Let's talk about the players. Fuck me, it's game one. We're already having to talk about Leeds like this. Right, here we go. We started like a freight train. We came out the blocks rocketing. Typical 4-2-3-1 formation that we've been doing in pre-season. Particular standouts for me, Mateo Joseph. Brilliantly leading the line. He was looking to get in behind all the time, but then when he had to hold the ball up, be strong, he did exactly that. He didn't put a foot wrong in that first half. Well, I would say actually the time that he was on the pitch, 70 minutes. There's one occasion later on which we'll mention, but on the whole, terrific. Similarly, Jorginho doesn't like to be called Rutter now apparently. Jorginho didn't need his normal 30 minutes to warm up. He seemed to be at it straight away, which was exciting. Bogle was working hard. Whenever he could overlap, he was overlapping. Everybody was on song, it seemed, at first. Pushing down the wings really well, getting the balls into the box, working the ball across into the centre at times. Frustrating for me was, when we're on top, how Ampadu seems to be ordered to come and sit back in the defensive line. Almost at times we're sitting as a 5-1-3-1 formation, or whatever that is. I don't understand when we're on top, or we're playing a team that we should be beating, or we're playing at home, why we feel Ampadu needs to keep coming deep all the time. I don't think it was necessary. I think we can trust our defenders to move the ball out of our own half. So for me, I want him to stay in the midfield a bit more often, because when things break down, we're missing someone in the midfield to pick up those balls. Second balls were a real problem today. Balls going into the box being nodded out by our defenders. There's no midfielders there to pick up because our midfielders are sitting in defence. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Dan James was of particular note to me. Frustrating. That's the note. He was doing my boxing. The guy is lightning. We all know that. Great. But you've got to have something at the end of it. The amount of times he just made the wrong decision. When a placed cross was needed and he just lumped it in there. Or when he just needed to get it across, he was trying to place it. Another occasion on the counter-attack in the second half, which should be his bread and butter. He's going so quick with the ball, he leaves it behind. He runs over the ball. And another opportunity we had to place the ball through, he just missed it. He just got it all wrong and passed it to the defender. Yes, we get it, he's quick. His electric pace meant the defender couldn't cope with it and he ended up taking out James instead of the ball. That's great, but I think we need more down our wings. If we can put a better ball in at the end of things, we're going to score more goals. So for me, Dan James is a major, major question mark. Also, it's his delivery. Free kicks, corners, they don't seem to go anywhere. They're just aimless. In actual fact, on the whole, apart from a couple of corners early on where we hit the bar with one of them, corners were the same as they ever were. Crosses were the same. Gruev, he kept trying to hit the far post and hit Ampadu. and it just kept going wrong, hitting it too long, Ampadu being crowded out. We just didn't change it up enough. So we score, and the impetus changes. Portsmouth seem to be getting more of the ball now. We allow them into the game for some strange reason, rather than just throttling them and destroying them. They get back into the game. Some smart moves, but a single pass through our defence. Bogle gets completely caught out of position. A shot on goal from Sorensen, their first shot, may I add, and not dealt with by Meslier. Gets a hand to it, but doesn't get enough on it. How many times have we seen that before? We go into another season where there's a question mark immediately against Meslier. So we're now drawing, so Leeds start to fight again. It all swings the other way, as it usually does with us. We start to create a few things, but some of our balls were just a little bit too straight at times. You know, Joseph, crikey, give the boy a chance. I mean, he was working incredibly hard. By this time, Georgie's head had started to drop. Certain things hadn't come off for him, so he does his usual thing, goes into his shell. I mean, he needs to mature a little bit for me. Nonto, he was working incredibly hard. Nothing was quite coming off for him. A few scuffed shots here and there, trying to get the ball in the box, but generally working hard. And then Joe Rodon overcommits. He gets the ball nicked away from him. He drags the player back. Free kick. Pretty central. Not in any huge danger zone. But as Leeds fans, we know what tends to happen here, don't we? So we're all holding our breath a little. The ball switched in, over to the left. Centre cross. Deflection here and there. I think it was Joe Rodon that headed the ball back out. No midfielders of ours to pick it up because we're all sitting too deep in the defence. I think it was left up to Georgie to try and gather it. Portsmouth player picks the ball up. Hell of a strike. Take nothing away from it. Scores an incredible goal. 2-1 down at half time. We all looked like rabbits in headlights. For the rest of that half, we were good for nothing. Might as well have just blown the whistle then. Second half, and we're out the blocks like a freight train again. Someone lit the tinder. Away we went. Very early on, Nonto cutting in from the left again. He takes his strike, his typical strike towards the near post, but it comes off for him. He wrong-foots the goalkeeper, who wasn't much cop to be fair. Norris, I think his name was. And he scores a goal. Great. Back to 2-2. Time for Leeds to run riot, you would think. Nope. It switches back again. Impetus straight back to Portsmouth, and we fall into the same habit. I mean, is it a mentality thing? Do we think, oh, easy now, we're gonna steamroll them now, no problem? I'm not sure what happens. We float through to the 70th minute, by which time Farke, unlike last season, has decided to start making substitutions earlier. But he goes fucking crazy. He makes 3 substitutions, and we turn into, for what felt like a few minutes, a sort of a 4-2-2-2 formation. It was bizarre. Nonto, James and Gruev taken off. For me, James the right decision. And he brought on Pirot, Rothwell and Aronson. So Aronson at first looked to be playing central, but we soon fell back into the 4-2-3-1. So Aronson pushed out to the left. Jorginho took James's place out on the right. Pirot was down the centre, and Joseph stayed on up top. For me, I don't know why we didn't go to a 4-3-3. Take control of that midfield. Still put Rutter out on the wing. Aronson on the other one if you like. I'd have kept Nonto on for a bit longer personally. Maybe there was a niggle. I don't know. But from that point onwards, we looked all over the place. The game got scrappy. Portsmouth did what most teams would do in their position. Every time we touched them, they hit the deck and stayed on the deck. And there was a lack of intelligence from our players. Some of the key players as well. Ampadu, Rodon, Strauch, going in for silly little niggly tackles. Not thinking, hang on a minute here. If I touch this player now, he's going to go down, the whistle's going to blow, and he's going to stay on the deck for as long as he can. I wanted us just to be a little bit more intelligent. Anyway, it was scrappy, untidy. The ball goes out to their left wing. The player picks it up, works his way into the box, and I'm screaming at the television. Please, please, please. Bogle is doing all he can to stop this guy from getting into the box and getting a shot off on goal. But he's got his arm round his neck. It's really awkward. All the player had to do was hit the deck, and it was a penalty. I don't know why it took the referee what felt like an age after the incident to decide it was a penalty. But come on, guys, it was a penalty. It was a stonewall. You'd expect it. If it happened to one of our players, we would have expected it. And there you go. Player steps up for the penalty. I don't think any of us expected Meslier to save it. Slotted it in, nice and easy. We're losing. The opening game of the season, with 10 minutes left to play? We're losing. On comes Bamford. I think he might have come on just before this incident. Anyway, Bamford was Bamford. By the way, if I was Joe Gelhardt, this would be all I need to see. If Bamford's being selected over me after he's had next to no pre-season, he's been injured forever, decision made, I'd be off. Anyway, Bamford's on, unable to control the ball. A ball came in the box, he headed it. Most strikers would glance it. He got his full head on it, almost hit the corner flag. Ineffective. Completely. But to be fair, he's had no pre-season, so it was a really odd decision to bring him on for the last 10 minutes. I'd have kept Joseph out there personally. Just let him go. I think he would have got a goal eventually. But we looked scrappy, we looked untidy. Until Pirot picked the ball up. He looked like he was going to mess it up. He was in the centre of the pitch. He was running towards the box. It looked untidy, but he managed to pass the ball through to Aronson, who turned well, used his strength, got a shot off on goal, went through the defender's legs and wrong-footed the keeper. 3-3. We're in extra time now. A hero. Just see it. Aronson the hero. Saves the day. We've got a couple of minutes to go and win the game. Can he do it? Oh, God. And then it happened. Ball through to Aronson. Counter-attack. I think it was Bogle. Really good work from Bogle. Gets the ball to Aronson. Aronson just has the entire goal to aim at. Just needs to put it to the goalkeeper's left. Aronson's right, and he goes to the opposite direction. Misses the goal, and that's it. Full-time whistle. So this is my first game review on the channel, and it already feels repetitive. I have to say, this is very much like the sort of performances we saw last season, but with more goals from the opposition. Defensively, untidy. Concentration, match intelligence, lacking a bit, really lacking. Now we could put it down to just being the first game of the season. We have to get ourselves up to speed. I'm sure that's what the club will say. I'm sure that's what Daniel Farke will say. But we've got to be careful, because Sheffield United, they're out of the blocks. Went away from home, won 2-0. Other teams that'll be up and around, they'll just get the jobs done. We can't be Leedsy. We've got to get this together. On a positive note, Jonathan Rowe wasn't selected for Norwich City. Let's hope he's coming to us and not Marseille, as it's been rumoured. I'll have a video out about that very soon. So there we go. Let's cross it off. Let's move on. It's a point. Shouldn't have been, but it is. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you. I'll catch you on the next one. Love you.